Good morning. Welcome to Yoga with Tina. Today is low and slow day. Low and slow means I want you to focus on the release so that it becomes restorative. So each of these poses, not that they aren't going to create a beautiful stretch and release for you, but the low and slow part, really, I want you to connect with yourself, connect with the breath, allow yourself to disconnect and release from anything like maybe residual left over from the night before or anything that might be busying your mind for the day ahead. So I invite you to the mat. I have a kind of a bolster pillow, my block and the strap. So we're starting in Reclined Butterfly. If you don't need a pillow for Reclined Butterfly, just come on. I like it just as, you know, as we're centering and releasing. It's just added a little comfort. You can also grab a blanket or a pillow from your couch. Usually couch pillows are a little bit more dense. Yeah, so let's settle in. So just find yourself on your back. Start with your knees lifted so that you can really consider your alignment. So slide those shoulders away from the ears and maybe even start by tilting the pelvis under, like up, right? So tucking it in, we'll find the right words, just so that you can feel the entire back flat on the mat. Just noticing and being mindful of that positioning. And then with the feet flat, then start to allow the knees to soften towards the long edge of the mat. Bottoms of the feet come together in a reclined pillow. I invite you to place one hand on your stomach and one hand on your heart. And just by placing a hand on the heart, usually I get this sensation of calm over the body. Really be mindful when you're connecting with yourself. Those little moments, the little intentions, and how they can just bring a little bit of ease and less anxiety. So something as simple as bringing a hand to the heart, or something as simple as closing your eyes and taking 5 deep inhales and exhales. Just notice how that helps to assist the parasympathetic so that you're not living in fight or flight. You're living in a more gentle space. That's what helps us to respond instead of react. So just start feeling the parts of the body soften. Allow the spine to come back to its natural state. So see if you can get to a point where you're not holding on to anything. And if Reclined Butterfly doesn't work for you, just release the legs straight in front as if we are starting in Shavasana. See if you can draw the chin just slightly towards the chest. Noticing the rise and fall of the stomach on the inhales and exhales. Feeling the cool air coming in through the nose. Let it feel soft on your skin. Start to release and soften the skin of the face. Soften the jaw. Washing over your body, start scanning. Noticing where the body feels really good today. Notice where you are holding on to tension. And when you notice the areas of tension, try to release and soften those areas with your exhale. If you start noticing that the to-do list or the worry list is invading this time, maybe respect that those thoughts and ideas are floating into the brain, but as soon as you recognize them, let them go away. If you're having a little bit of trouble focusing on releasing, just bring your mind and your thoughts to thinking inhale on the inhale and exhale on the exhale. Sometimes it helps us to disconnect from the noise, to be able to allow our brains and our spirits to be still. Even in your softened state, see if you can soften just a tiny bit more. Maybe allow the shoulders to melt, the knees to release. Perhaps softening the stomach, checking back in with the jaw. Notice how the eyes feel this morning. We're all starting to be in springtime. See if we can release any tension or pressure from the eyes. And as you feel ready, start to slowly and intentionally draw the breath in through the nose, filling the stomach, expanding the ribs, sipping into the chest. Holding at the top, long, slow exhale to release. So draining the breath from the chest, the ribs, draw the belly button in towards the backbone. Holding at the bottom. Inhaling slowly, see if you can count it to the count of 4. Holding at the top. Long, slow exhale for the count of 5. Holding at the bottom. Inhale for 5. Hold. Exhale for 6. Inhale for 6. Exhale for 7. Inhale for 6. Exhale for 7. Inhale for 5. Exhale for 6. Hold at the bottom. Inhale for 4. Hold at the top. Exhale for 5. Hold at the bottom. And release to the neutral breath. Notice and scan. Notice how the mind feels, the spirit feels. Notice how the physical body feels. And maybe start to invite small movements into the fingers and toes. Start to bring your awareness back to your space. Take a deep breath in through the nose and then open the mouth to exhale. Slowly start to draw the knees back to neutral, planting the feet. Slow windshield wipering. I'm keeping the pillow underneath for just a few moments. And then maybe keeping the left foot planted, drawing the right knee in towards the chest, flexing and pointing the right foot, and then straightening the right leg. So no need to grab the strap for these, just starting to warm and wake up the lower body. So I have my hands clasped behind the thigh, but no need to go that far even. So just slowly starting to draw that nose up towards the knees. So starting to warm up the core, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Belly button drawn in towards the backbone. Slowly release. Maybe crossing the right leg over the left. And just pressing, just gently pressing, releasing that right knee off to the right side with the ankle crossed over the knee. And then opening the arms up into a T, releasing the knees to the right hand side, ideally onto the pillow. Very gentle spinal twist, so looking out over the left hand side. Slowly drawing back to neutral. Draw the left knee in, so planting the right foot. Point and flex the foot. And then slowly starting to straighten the leg. Maybe clasping hands behind the back of the leg. And then slowly drawing the nose towards the knee. Core is engaged, shoulders are released. Slowly releasing. And then crossing. Left ankle over right knee. Gently releasing that left knee away from the body. So just using the hand to release the knee. Coming back to neutral with the knees. Open the arms up into a T. Release the knees to the left-hand side, looking out over the right. So if you don't have a pillow underneath the knees, really allow this to be a gentle twist. We don't want to go too far too quickly. We're just warming the body up. Return the knees to neutral, reset the spine, the shoulders, the hips, and then draw both knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a hug, maybe a kind word. And then slowly bringing the bottoms of the feet together into an incline butterfly, releasing the knees to the long edge of the mat. You can start to play with the idea of pressing the feet together and releasing, just noticing how that changes. And then see if you can flatten the very small of the spine, connecting it with the mat. And then slowly start to release. So now I'm going to move the pillow out of the way, extending the body long. So pointing the toes, flexing the toes. Notice how flexing the feet really brings like a whole stretch from the bottoms of the feet all the way up the hamstrings. Point the feet. So something as simple as just pointing and flexing really can engage the whole lower body. Flexing one last time. And then this time pointing and then reaching the arms up overhead. Whole body stretch. And release. Grab your block. And then plant the feet. Tuck the heels in towards the hips. And instead of, we're doing baby bridge first. Instead of using the block underneath the body, we'll probably get to that later. We're going to place the block in between the knees and press the knees together. So just by pressing the knees together, notice the stretch, notice the engagement of the muscles. And then just baby bridge is just really tilting the pelvis up. So it doesn't look like much. It's just drawing that very small of the back off of the mat. So holding for 5 breaths. Core is engaged. And then slowly release. Maybe take the block away, windshield wiper back and forth. I'm holding onto the block because we're going to use it. We're going to use it again. We're going to do that 2 more times. And then bringing the knees back to neutral. Placing the block Release the arms next to the side. Press the block together first. So press the knees around the block first. And then draw the pelvis up. So engage the glutes and the core. 5 breaths. And then slowly release. Windshield wiper the knees back and forth. And one last time. Place the block. Tuck the feet in close to the hips. Engage the core, the glutes, and slowly lift. 5 breaths. On the 5th exhale, slowly release, set the block aside, stretching the body all the way out again, reaching the arms up overhead, pointing the toes, and then either using that slow momentum of the arms to roll the body all the way up or roll to one side and join us in a seated pose. So slowly reaching, engage that core, mindful movement. And then find yourself with the legs extended, knees and toes pointed up. And then we're using the block one more time. So finding those sit bones, even if that means moving the tush out of the way. Find the sit bones so that you can feel the bones in our hips firmly planted. And then find that alignment. So starting by just top of the head release towards the sky, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Let's go ahead and place the palms of the hands next to the hips, toes pointed up. If the palms of the hands don't reach, then just press the fingertips in. So sitting in staff pose with the toes and the knees pointed up, engage the core and engage the whole body. Maybe the heels lift off of the mat, maybe they don't. The block is in between the legs, so it might feel a little bit different than what we usually do with staff pose. And slowly release and shake it out just a little bit. So with the block placed right in between, like right underneath the knees, but in between. Does that make sense? So the block is below the knees, in between the legs. Inhale, reaching the arms up, engage the core, hinging at the hips, leaning forward. Bend the knees if this feels like it's too intense. Reaching the fingertips away from the body, and then slowly lowering. Maybe, and adjust the block as you need to, maybe the forehead releases to the block. So even, we're just really getting into our sequence. So my knees are slightly bent here. So you don't want to, feel like you're, tearing or pulling anything too much. But it's nice to be able to release the forehead either to your pillow that you used in the beginning underneath the legs, or just resting the forehead. Allow the spine to round and release. Soften the arms. With each exhale, maybe try to release the legs a little bit. So if they're bent, maybe start to straighten a little bit. But remember, no pain in yoga. With the forehead connected to the block, this creates a really grounding pose. So really think about softening the jaw, softening the skin of the face, allowing the arms to release. One more deep breath here. On the exhale, release the chin to the chest and roll the spine all the way up. Setting the block aside, bottoms of the feet together, coming into a seated. Butterfly. No need to bring the heels in too tight, but if that feels good to you, go for it. So the closer the heels are to the hips, the deeper the stretch for the hips. So releasing the knees to the long edge of the mat, finding that alignment first, sit bones connected, shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders. And then if it feels good, hinging at the hips, leaning forward, maybe the elbows provide leverage to release the hips just a little bit more. And then slowly releasing, draw the knees underneath. Planting the hands. Taking 3 breaths in cat-cow, so setting up for tabletop. Nice long spine on the next exhale. Round the spine, tuck the tailbone under. Inhale for cow. 2 more breaths. And then turning the toes under, releasing the hips back, sitting up into a modified hero's pose, just stretching the bottoms of the feet. Engage the core. And then coming back through tabletop, bring the hands one handprint in front of where they are. Keep the toes turned under. Release the hips high, coming into downward dog. Really keep the knees bent here. Draw the ears in between the arms, lifting the tailbone. So I can draw the ears in between the arms, but when I lift the tailbone, I'm almost tilting the tailbone up. Fingertips are pressed into the mat. Head and neck stay nice and soft, and then slowly pedal the feet back and forth. No need for the heels to reach the mat. Keep the jaw soft, continue to flow with the breath. One more deep breath in through the nose. On the exhale, look between the hands and then start drawing the right knee towards the right wrist. Nice and slow. Use your pillows here, your pillow, your block. You can place that pillow right underneath the right hip, just to stabilize. Like, this is not a power class today, so we're going to be especially gentle with ourselves so that we can release. We're still getting an amazing stretch, just approaching it differently. So with my right knee to the right wrist, and remember the modifications. You can do this seated and crossing one ankle over the opposite knee, or you can do this reclined. So you can just go right back down to your mat and do this almost similar to how we started, with one foot crossed over the knee. So if you're joining me where I am, so I am keeping the right hip lifted. And today, usually we try to keep the front of the leg parallel with the front of the mat or close to it. And today I'm just drawing, letting my heel come in closer to the body. And from this point of pigeon, I'm going to start bending the left knee. Maybe seeing if I can reach back for it. It's a much more intense stretch, so stay where you are. Notice what feels good in your body. Micro bend in the front elbow. Use your props. So my pillow is really helping assist keep the right hip lifted so that I'm not dumping into it. And then slowly release the left leg back down, planting the left hand. Turn the left toes under and then lift back into your downward facing dog. Move the pillow to the other side and just pedal the feet back and forth, nice and slow. Look between the hands, draw the left knee towards the left wrist, release the right leg long. So if you have a pillow, You can tuck that pillow right underneath the left side just to help assist. And then bending the right knee or staying where you are, maybe reaching back. Micro bend in the front elbow so you're not hyperextending. That's kind of my natural go-to, is to hyperextend. Long, slow inhales and exhales. Really think about restoring here. Restoring the body, preparing for hopefully a slower pace in the next couple of days. On the next exhale, releasing the right leg. Slide the pillow out of the way. Turn the right toes under, and then stepping back into plank pose. Take 5 deep breaths in plank. Get yourself set up first, so shoulders over wrists, and pressing into those heels. Invite the body to release to modified plank on the knees. And then release down to the knees. Invite a child's pose. So knees together, arms extended, because we're going right into cobra. One more deep breath in, child's pose. And then on the exhale, slowly coming forward into cobra. So extending the legs behind, bending the elbows, eyes in front. Inhale. On the exhale, releasing back to child's pose. Inhale. I always like to round the spine as I'm coming through that tabletop area. Deep inhale. Exhale back to child's pose. And if you need to take 2 breaths in each place, it's okay. Inhaling forward. Exhale on the child's pose. One last time, coming back to your child's pose. And then slowly walking the hands back towards the body. Turn the toes under, sinking the hips, clasping hands behind the back. So if you've had enough of the arch stretch, then just come back to hero's pose. Top of the feet are connected, hips are released to the heels. But clasping your hands behind the back, and then opening the chest and heart space, keeping the core engaged, shoulders released. The closer the palms of the hands come together, the deeper the stretch, the more you're opening the chest and heart space. And then slowly release and shake it out. Coming back to your seated fold. So legs are extended this time. Now grab the strap. So we're kind of moving back to the seated before we go to the floor to recline. So extending the knees and the extending the legs, knees and toes pointed up. So this time with the body more sufficiently warmed up, we're going to place the strap around the balls of the feet. Find those sit bones again. If you still prefer having the pillow, that's fine. With the strap, it is going to be a deeper, more intense fold. Bend the knees if you need to. So still find comfort in the body while we're going a little deeper. All right, so find the alignment first. So with the strap, I've got my elbows tucked in, my feet are flexed, knees stay up, so try not to avoid allowing them to release to the sides or even inwards. Take a deep breath in through the nose, exhale, start to use the strap. Hinging at the hips, draw the body forward. Bend the knees if it feels too intense. Adjust the hands on the strap. If you want to go a little bit deeper, just try to keep the elbows tucked in. Spine stays long here. One more deep breath. And then release chin to the chest, roll all the way up. And then releasing the strap, I'm moving so that I can face you. And I'm extending one leg long, tucking the other in. So I'm starting with the right leg out. Strap is going right back around the ball of the right foot. Find that sit bone, find the sit bones again. So really ground down, keep the right knee up, right, and the right toes up, just to help with the alignment. So this time, as we lift and lengthen the spine, then we're moving the torso towards the knee. So starting in center, aligned, and then twisting towards. Just try not to lose the sit bones connection. Maybe you need to adjust the leg so that you have enough space. And then hinging at the hips, coming forward. Again, using those straps, keep the elbows tucked in. Calm breath. On the next exhale, slowly release back to neutral, switching sides. So using the hands to kind of assist everything into place. Extend left leg long. Strap around the ball of the foot. Find those sit bones. So find the lengthen the spine first, and then turn the torso towards the left knee. Really keeping the left knee and the left toes up. On the exhale, hinging, coming forward. Making the adjustment with the strap. Shoulders released. Don't forget to breathe. And then slowly on the next exhale, release. Release the strap, set it aside. And draw both feet together into seated butterfly. Lots of hip work this week. Is it you? Is it me? I'm not sure. I have a feeling I know. Anyways, so finding those sit bones in the alignment first. Sitting up nice and tall. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. And then hinging forward. So I like to sometimes, especially with these low and slow days, I like to revisit some of the postures so that we can kind of see the progress. So when we're starting a sequence, everything should feel a little bit tight. It's a slow progression. And then by the end, we've moved our body enough, and I want you to notice how far we've come. Keep that breath. Maybe use the elbows as leverage to release the knees a little bit further. Maybe the heels are a little bit deeper or towards the hips. One more deep breath. On the exhale, draw the knees together, engage the core. So finding the sit bones and then releasing away from the sit bones, long spine. Float the arms, keep the feet connected for now. Draw that belly button in towards the backbone. So a really modified boat pose. Deep inhales and exhales. And then on the next exhale, slowly start to release. So tilting that pelvis and slowly, mindfully releasing all the way down. See if you can keep the block close by. Find yourself on the middle of the mat. I thought I was hanging off. Draw the knees back in towards the chest, rocking side to side. And then placing the hands just below the knees and making small circles in one direction. and the other. Bottoms of the feet together in Incline Butterfly. Try to release the small of the back towards the mat. Press the feet together, noticing how that changes the stretch. And then slowly release. Draw the knees back to neutral, planting the feet. Grab the block. So we're going to do a full bridge with the block between the knees this time. And then we'll go into the assisted bridge where the block goes underneath the sacral area. So placing the block, so I have the block at kind of the second setting and placing it right below the knees, squeezing the thighs around the block. So just by sitting here, notice how that feels. It's a little bit different than when we started, when we're really pressing the knees together. You should be able to feel the stretch all the way through the inner thighs and into the hips. So placing the heels as close as you can to the hips, especially with having the block kind of in your way. And then releasing the arms next to the side, engage the core, and then start peeling the hips off of the floor. Continuing to press into the block. So move the shoulders underneath the body. Weight of the body is in the bottoms of the feet and in the shoulders. Really squeezing the glutes, engaging the core, all while pressing the block with the knees. Continue to breathe. Keep that jaw soft. Let the breath flow through the body. Actively lifting the hips. Lower if you need to. One more deep breath. Come up on the toes. On the exhale, lower one vertebrae at a time. Take the block away, windshield wiper, the knees back and forth. Keep the block handy. And then reset the knees. Bring those heels in close to the hips. And on the inhale, lifting the hips, maybe even coming up on tiptoes and placing the block at the sacrum. So the sacrum, again, is not the tailbone and it's not the small of the back. So you want to get into that in-between space. So mine is kind of just below my waistband. When you lower the hips onto the block, it should feel really good. Like you should feel an expansion of that lower spine that feels like maybe, you know, when you're stretching your spine, you might not be able to get to that spot on your own. You know, lowering the sacrum down onto the block, it should feel amazing. If it doesn't feel amazing, make adjustments so that it does feel amazing for you. And we're just going to hang out here for a few breaths. With each exhale, soften and release. On the next exhale, drawing the body off of the block, coming up on tiptoes, and then slowly releasing one vertebrae at a time, all the way down, extending the legs long. Invite any last poses that might feel good in your body. If you need another inversion or hip stretch, maybe a happy baby, maybe just drawing the knees in towards the chest. If you're ready for Shavasana, join me. So legs extended, arms released to the side, palms facing up, and then soften and release the feet towards the long edge of the mat. So wherever you are, listen to your body. Listen to what it needs. If you're ready for Shavasana, kind of make sure the props are moved out of your way so they're not distracting you. See if you can start to feel the vibration of the body in the soles of the feet. Soften the tops of the feet. Release each toe one at a time. Release any tension from the lower legs, from the knees, from the upper legs. Soften and release the lower spine. Soften the hips and the stomach. Release the tension from the shoulder blades, from the shoulders. Releasing. Opening up the heart space. Releasing the chest. Soften the arms, the elbows. Feel the connection of the tops of the hands with the earth. Feel the vibration of the body with the palms of the hands. Release each finger one at a time. Release any tension from the neck. Draw the chin slightly towards the chest. Soften the jaw. With the lips closed, bring separation between the top and bottom teeth. And release the tongue from the top of the mouth. Soften the cheeks, the ears, the nose. Release any tension from the eyes and the forehead. Taking a deep breath in through the nose, and on the exhale, releasing from the top of the head, washing over the body and through the bottoms of the feet. For just a few moments, allow your body the rest it craves. And then you'll hear my voice again. As you start to hear the sound of my voice, start bringing awareness back to your space. Noticing the stillness of the breath and the body. Inviting very small movements into the fingers and toes. Maybe taking a stretch overhead. As you feel ready, slowly start rolling to one side, keeping the eyes closed. Maybe drawing the knees in towards the chest, finding stillness. Drawing gratitude in, always. Especially when we feel frustrated or unsettled. Try to find something positive to focus on. Draw the gratitude in, even if it's just the gratitude for the ability to move, to play, the ability to find some joy, admiring the incredible nature we have around us, not even just in Florida, although Florida's pretty amazing. Just notice. Notice how the shift of gratitude allows for some of the noise to wash away. Gratitude for our mind's ability to be able to shift that thinking. Know that you are beautifully and perfectly made just the way that you are, exactly the way that you are. Both masterpiece and a work in progress. Embrace the both and. yourself with things that make you feel completely whole. Allow yourself to receive things that allow you to feel authentic, like comfortable in your own skin. When you find those things that fill you up, that's when the cup runneth over. As you feel ready, slowly join me in a seated posture to close our practice out today. Finding the sit bones connected, feel the fingertips connected, find length in your spine, top of the head released towards the sky, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. On the next inhale, open the arms up wide, collect this beautiful energy you help create into the palms of your hands. Exhaling to heart center, thumbs to the heart to remind us we are never alone. We are all connected by no mistakes. We are all connected by our experiences, by the willingness to see someone else experiencing something similar and being brave to share that. Our experience could lead someone else through what their experience is. No experience is the same, but we have the ability to be guides. I think that's the takeaway of some of the pain and the grief and the suffering, is that some of that pain and grief and suffering can also help, which heals us. I think that's part of grace. So may you be safe, may you be well, may you be at ease, and may you know peace. Namaste. The light in me honors